Welcome to our final day of digital scrapbooking for beginners. In the previous lessons, you learned how to work with two types of quick pages, a simple and a more complex design, plus learn how to create a layout from a template. With these 3 lessons under your belt, you are a step away from truly mastering the beginner-based steps of digital scrapbooking. Matter of fact, you're already accomplished at it. But there's one more thing I want to show you how to do, and that's how to build a very simple page from scratch. And trust me, if this is your first time, it's much easier than you think. Let's do this. In the previous lessons, we always begin by opening some pre-made file. But this time, you need to start from a completely blank workspace. To do so, go to File, New, Blank File. And you will be greeted by a window. Here you'll need to set the size and settings for your page. Set the width and height to the page size you prefer. I prefer layouts that are sized 12 inches by 12 inches. You may prefer instead 8.5 by 11. Or a card size. You can also choose a preset size by clicking Preset here in the drop-down menu and choosing from the available options, including international paper sizes. Click on Size, and here they are all available to you. So set your width and height sizes first in the increments that you want to use. For pages you plan to print, set the resolution to 300 pixels per inch. This is the standard resolution for printed creations. Set your color mode to RGB color and the background contents to white, and when you're done, click OK. And a blank workspace is open for us right in our workspace. Your next step for prep is to turn on a grid. A grid will allow us to place our layers quickly and easily. To turn on the grid, go to View, Grid. And a lovely graph paper-based grid will show up on our workspace. Now don't worry, the grid is just a tool. The lines will not appear on your final print at all, so don't worry. And at any time, you can turn off the grid by returning to View, Grid. But we want to leave it on for now. Let's also turn on our rulers. My rulers are already on, but to turn them on, go to View, Rulers, and make sure it's checked. The rulers will help us measure objects quickly too as we work. And that officially completes our prep work. Next, let's set up the skeleton of our layout. And for me, this has always been as easy as preschool, because really, we're just going to play with shapes. See, the base of any layout, the bones that make it, are really just a mash up of shapes. The paper is cut into shapes. The photos have a shape. Everything has a shape, and geometric shapes are simple, right? So we're going to use geometric shapes to build the skeleton of our layout. And thankfully, Elements includes a ton of pre-made shapes. To activate them, click on the Line tool in the Tools panel. Now, if you don't see the line tool and you have some other shape and it looks like a box or a circle, click on that shape. It's going to be right under the gradient tool and right next to the color picker tool. So click on the line tool or the shape tool that you have available in your tools panel, and then turn your eyes to the tool options bar and the hidden tools included. There you will find the rectangle tool, the rounded rectangle tool, the ellipse tool, the custom shape tool, and a couple of other tools as well. We can use these tools to build the skeleton form of our layout. Here's how. First, select the rectangle tool. Next, let's draw a rectangle on our workspace that's 3 inches by 3 inches. So I'm going to click my mouse right here in my workspace and drag and draw until my width reads 3.0 inches and my height is 3.0 inches. And I can tell by that little black label that pops up and shows me the size of what I'm drawing. So I'm clicking and dragging. You can see the little box there. And as I'm clicking and dragging, before I let go, notice how that my shape is snapping to the bars on the grid, the lines on the grid there. So I'm going to go to 3 inches, 3 inches and let go, and I've got this colored shape in my box. Now the shape has taken the color of whatever my color picker foreground color is that we've seen before. It doesn't matter what color your shape is, so you don't have to worry about that. I'm just choosing this color because it's easy to see. Now let's talk about the Snap To for just a second. Snap To is a feature found in the top menu when you go to View, Snap To. Turning it on, all of these checked items here, Snap to the guide, Snap to the grid, Snap to layers, allows layers to snap to whatever options you have checked, of course. You want to leave them all checked for now, but if it annoys you at some later point, you now know how to turn it off. So here's my box. Next, let's create 2 more rectangles. But instead of drawing more boxes of the same size, simply use shortcut keys Command J on the Mac or Control J on the PC 2 times, 1 and 2. And that will duplicate our shape in the Layers panel. So now we have 1, 2, 3 boxes, all the same 3 inch by 3 inch size. But they are all on top of one another, and we don't want that. So we need to move the shapes and set them in the position we want on our layout. Select the Move tool in the Tools panel, or use shortcut key V on your keyboard. That is the shortcut key for the Move tool. And then drag the shapes out so that you can see them. 1, 2, 3. Next, we want to place them on a row with one another evenly spaced out, or at least I want to do for our demonstration. So I'm going to put one right here, put the second one over here, and put the third one over here. And because again I have Snap To, they're easily snapping to the grid lines. If I didn't want them to snap to the grid lines, I would just turn the Snap To feature off. Now this doesn't have to be perfect, but I want them to be evenly spaced out. Basically, I want the same amount of grid lines on this side to resemble this side. So I'm going to drag this out until I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. And drag this one in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces like that. And then I'll put the center one right in the middle so that there is a column in between on both sides. And officially they're all now lined up, and that's why you use a grid. Because it's simple, it's aligned, it's perfect, even though I'm just eyeballing it using a grid. Now we have 3 rows of blocks. And guess what? These blocks are for our photos. But before we add those photos, let's add one more block so we have some paper in here. Duplicate any one of the existing blocks again. Use Command J on the Mac, Control J on the PC. And this is my 4th block. And then use the Move tool to pull out that block. And let's resize it a bit. We can use the anchors to change the size of the box. You know how to enlarge, but we don't want to enlarge. We want to change the actual shape of it. And we can do that using the side anchors in the middle. So if I tug on one of these and hold and pull out, I can pull the rectangle so that it's larger. I'm going to decrease the size of this so that it's smaller in height. And then on this side, increase the block so it's longer. Like a paper strip. And it too is snapping to the grid line, so it's perfectly aligned with our photos. Click the green checkbox to commit my shape change. And then if it's not in the correct place, like say if yours has moved, you just want to use the Move tool to snap it right into place. Okay, I hope you've made the connection from point A to point Z now. We've essentially built a template. Now you can use this skeleton just like you would a template by clipping 3 photos and a pattern to the shapes we created. And you know already how to do that. First, let's turn off the grid. Go to View, Grid, to toggle it off. And here's the skeleton of our layout. With our grid turned off, I can now add my photos. Go to Open, navigate to my photos. I'm going to highlight all of them at one time as shown before. Click Open and they pop open into the workspace. Then I'm going to drag my photos into my layout. And now I have 1, 2, 3 photos. Then I can clip my photos to these shapes. Click on my photo, drag it above the shape that I want to clip it to. Press Command G on my Mac or Control G on the PC. And then set that photo right into position. Use the bounding box to reduce the size. And it's right into position. Click the green check mark to approve my change. Next, the third photo, or the second photo. Drag it above my second photo place. Use Command G on the Mac, Control G on the PC to clip it. And then reduce the size down so it fits within the photo size window. And click the green check marks or hit the Enter key to accept the change. And finally, the last photo. Now I haven't saved my file yet, so I'm going to do that right now. Go to File, Save, instead of Save As. And because this is my fourth page, I'm just going to name it My Fourth Page. Format Photoshop, layers are checked, embed in color profile, and hit Save. And now I've saved my page. So I've got the skeleton done. I've added photos. Let me go grab a paper. And then I'm going to drag this into my workspace and clip it to that paper strip layer that I made. And now I have a paper strip. And now I want to add a background paper. So we're going to use this one. I'm just going to slide my layer background paper behind everything. And we have the makings of a layout. Now I prefer my shapes to look more dimensional, so I'm going to add a drop shadow to the shape layers, not the photo layers, because they are clipped to it. And remember, we want the photo to assume the characteristics of the shape. So I'm going to target the shape layer and click on the Effects panel. And my styles drop shadows are already available, so I'm going to click on the low and add a low drop shadow to my photo. You can see it there. Return back to my layers panel. And then I'm going to right click on the layer, select Copy Layer Style, click on the next shape and select Paste Layer Style. And then the next shape and select Paste Layer Style. And then the next one and select Paste Layer Style. And now I have a shadow on all of my photo pieces and my paper. Now I'm going to reduce just a little bit of that shadow on my paper. Don't want it to be that strong as the photos. And that looks good. Next, I want to add some embellishments, a title, and a journaling. And because I'm using the same steps that I've taught you in the previous videos, we're going to speed up the tape a little bit here, and I'm going to show you how I work. That completes our simple page from scratch, and it was easy, wasn't it? I want you to build your fourth and final page from class, and while you're wrapping up, I'll be sending you a bonus video with extra tips from our peers team, ladies who know a ton about digital scrapbooking too. But for now, complete your 4 pages, share them with us in the Scrapineers gallery, ask digital scrapbooking questions by posting in our forums, We want to help you succeed with this cool hobby, and it's no fun when you're unsure of a step. We all got better because someone out there answered questions for us too, so don't be shy and don't tackle this thing alone. And finally, I'm so excited about the progress you made and hope you just love your new skills as a digital scrapbooker. You are officially one now. Welcome to the club. But most importantly, capture the photos plus the stories and the meaning of the lives around you, including yours, because no one can capture your piece of the world quite like you can. Until our next class together, happy scrapbooking.